Hello and welcome to another episode of the Women's Sports Matters podcast. I'm your host, Gianna Belcastro, and what is up, folks? Today is an amazing day. I don't know why. I'm just feeling it today, honestly. You know how it is. You know how I start this podcast off. Let's get that flipping ad read out of the way, and let's just get it done. So this whole podcast, the reason I started it is because I'm a big fan of women's sports. Clearly, that's the name of the podcast. That's what I mainly talk about, besides diving into some political issues because I'm a cool teenager. Yeah, I'm not going to say that ever again, but you know what I mean. I think it's important to recognize that women's sports aren't recognized, and that's the whole topic of today's conversation. Why women need to be recognized more on social media and the actual media. Yeah, so let's dive in. So the NWSL will be the first Major League Sports team to get into the action. Back to the action, whatever the hell you want to say. No one cares about NASCAR because NASCAR is not a sport, and I don't care who you are. Car racing, please. That's a death trap, and it's not safe, and it should not be considered a sport because driving is not supposed to be a sport. But that's my take on it. But I mean, I just watch women's sports, so what do I know, guys? I'm kidding. If you were a NASCAR fan, cool. I'm just glad they got rid of Confederate flags. Maybe all of the states. Maybe the nation should be like, hey, we're banning those racist Confederate flags. They lost. That's the losing side. Do you want to be a part of the losing side? No. That's very unpatriotic, by the way, but enough of that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about how ESPN decided not to talk to the NWSL commissioner, but talk to the MLB, MLS, WNBA, NHL, NBA commissioners, I believe. Oh, and golf commissioner apparently too. The hell? And I follow The Score on Instagram. That's where I get my daily sports knowledge besides looking on the Bleacher Report app and Twitter. And obviously in the comments I saw how people are disrespecting the W by saying, okay, there's 4 Major League sports here. What are the other 2? Disregarding golf and women's basketball. Very nice. Very nice. But the NWSL is the first sports organization coming back. And they're not even being featured. I'm glad that they're recognizing the W, but the NWSL is not being recognized enough, and I'm tired of it. They're speaking to Crystal Dunn about this issue, which is okay, but they hired their first commissioner ever, right? Why can't you report on that? They didn't report on that, by the way. But why can't ESPN take time to recognize the women's soccer league? I'm curious. Sure, they're playing in Montana. No one recognizes Montana. That's very obvious, people. I'm kidding. If you're from Montana, Wyoming, the states that are never recognized, congrats, you live there. I'm so sorry for dealing with nothing. I'm sending my condolences. I'm kidding. Okay. But the MLS is not the first sports league coming back. Yes, they're coming back in early July. Yes, the NWSL is coming back very soon. But guys, what the hell? Why is it so hard to recognize sports leagues that exist? No one recognizes the NWHL, or I have no idea what the softball league is called. I'm very sorry to my softball players and watchers out there, but I have no idea what your league is called. I know it's a fast pitch league, I believe. Let me know in the comments. I'm so sorry. I am not educated. But I do know there's a women's hockey league, and I follow them all on Twitter. So I stay very updated. And their logos are pretty cool, and I've never watched a game because I'm sure they're not on TV anyway. And I know there's not a team in Chicago, so I need a team to root for. So, hockey fans, let me know in the comments. I always say let me know in the comments. I hope you know I'm referring to YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube. But let me know. What team should I root for? What am I talking about? Oh, yeah. NWSL. Why aren't they recognized, and why do people make their comments? First of all, the reason that men make their comments is because they're lonely, and they played high school basketball, but they were on the JV team and never made it to varsity. And they're homophobic, and they make kitchen comments, which aren't even funny. And I know they don't even know how to make a sandwich. That's why they're asking people to make them a sandwich. The only thing they know how to make... they don't know how to make anything, I'm sorry. They don't even know how to drive or go to the grocery store to get the things to make a sandwich. I, however, created the perfect sandwich, and it's called Shut the Fuck Up, Your Opinion Doesn't Matter Here. It's available at Jimmy John's. Guys, this is a joke, and if you can't recognize that, welcome to sarcasm. Anyway, I don't know what it takes for the women to be recognized. What does it take? I don't know, sports are sports, and I don't know what people are watching right now, but I'm currently watching Borussia Dortmund play in Germany right now, and because I'm a German soccer fan, and I'm a Chelsea fan too, so I'm excited to see them play. But when the NWSL comes back, I will be watching my Chicago Red Stars win the whole damn thing. And when the W comes back, which they are proposing to pay their players 100%, I believe the only league doing that right now, by the way, when they come back, I will sure as hell be watching. When the NBA comes back, no, I will not be watching. You want to know why? Because I support women first. Some NBA players won't even be coming back. One of the reasons I watch the NBA is because of Kyrie Irving. Oh my god, I cannot talk today. Kyrie Irving and Damian Lillard. I don't care about the Lakers. I don't care about LeBron. Sure, he's a great guy. Athlete, His work outside of basketball, yeah, I appreciate that. Sure, he's decent. You know what? You want to know who else I care about? Giannis Antetokounmpo. Okay? I care about those players. I am a Celtics fan. I'm also a Bulls fan. And I appreciate the Nets and the Trailblazers. That being said, I appreciate a lot of teams that I cannot name right now. Yes, call me a bandwagon. I appreciate a lot of sports teams. I'm a very avid sports watcher. And I will not be watching the NBA because the NWSL, WNBA, and yes, MLS deserve more attention right now. If you don't appreciate these sports teams, then you're SOL. Honestly, one thing that I just want to mention right now is that these teams deserve to be appreciated, and if you want to know more about these teams, look them up. I just really wish that teams are appreciated more, and leagues. But I don't know where to start because I know what I said before for the last, 10 minutes. But there's just something that bothers me when it comes to, what is it? What is it called? Like, things like The Score and Bleacher Report and ESPN and even ESPNW. These companies that report on these sports leagues and teams fail to mention the true stardom that is within these leagues and teams. For instance, Bleacher Report, a company that I follow. I love seeing their stuff. I even have the Bleacher Report app on my phone. That's how I get my college basketball news and soccer news, especially. And on social media, on Twitter, they have a list of all these sports leagues that are returning, and it's like, I'm glad that you mentioned the WNBA. I'm very, very happy. But the NWSL starts on June 27th. And then people in the comments on Twitter are mad about the MLS and WNBA being included. I'm sorry. Those are sports leagues, and there's fans of these leagues. I'm a fan of the MLS. I'm a fan of the WNBA, and I'm a fan of the NWSL, NBA, MLB, sports leagues, soccer sports leagues it's not soccer sports league, soccer leagues in Europe. So I don't understand why it hurts to mention these teams and leagues. It's not fair to those who work their butts off to get to where they are today and have the media not show anything about them unless it's absolutely negative. I was watching First Take the other day, and they were showing like how sports leagues are getting back to normal. Well, not normal, just getting back to something during this unprecedented times. And the WNBA logo, MLS, and NWSL logos were not present. I believe it was MLB, NFL, NASCAR, the PGA, NBA, NHL. I don't know if I repeated myself at all, because I have a very bad short-term memory. I have very bad memory in general. Again, failure to include other sports leagues that are a thing. Obviously, yes, we're forgetting that NWHL. I understand that. We are forgetting the Fast Pitch League, whatever it's called. I have no idea what it's called, and I'm so sorry. And I would like a softball player or a softball coach, anyone that works in the softball pro league, whatever it is called, contact me. Let's get an interview going. I would love to talk about that kind of stuff because it is something that I need to educate myself on, and I know it's a thing that exists. I know it is not on TV. The only softball that I watch is college softball, and that isn't even on right now. But I do enjoy watching college softball. But I don't know anything about hockey. I don't know anything about softball. I will get educated on hockey very soon. Softball, folks, if you're there, contact me. Let's get an interview going so I can be educated and my podcast listeners can be educated as well. Also, tennis players, that isn't really talked about either. lacrosse, frisbee. Frisbee's a sport, by the way. I play it. I played for my high school. When I go to an actual college instead of community college, I will be playing there too. Or at least I really want to. Ultimate frisbee is a sport, and you can't tell me otherwise. I was gonna say another kind of sport. Volleyball. They're making volleyball league. I remember seeing that. So if you're in these sports and you're going to be a part of these leagues, or you are a part of these leagues, reach out. I want to continue a conversation where we push forward to get this stuff more talked about, because it's what they deserve. It's what the people that work their asses off deserve, is attention. They deserve attention. Guys, they are training. They are risking their lives, basically, putting their bodies on the line to play these sports for our entertainment purposes. You buy tickets. You buy their merch. You go to the games in the stadiums. You drive all the way to the stadiums. You buy stuff in the stadiums. You're helping the team out. The least we could do is become educated and to show stuff that is happening on networks like ESPN. Is it hard to do? Is it really that hard? Another thing to add. The comments on social media are not necessary. I don't know what it does for these imbeciles that are writing these things. But you probably have no idea what it's like to be in the position these athletes are in right now. Sure, you probably played high school basketball, but you're probably on the bench. Okay? I would know. I was on the bench. I could talk smack if I wanted to. But I was a bench warmer, probably like these other losers. Okay? They were probably a team manager too, like I was. See? I can relate. But that doesn't mean that you have the right to make kitchen comments or to say that these leagues don't matter, because they do. And if you can't see the true star power that these athletes have, then why are you watching sports in the first place? Honestly, tell me why. If you are a true sports fan, you will decide on your own to become educated, to watch different sports leagues, and to fill yourself up with knowledge because of stuff like this happening right now. If you keep making kitchen comments, you're not even doing anything. It doesn't matter. You're not hurting anyone. You want to know why? Because they don't care. Literally. Go make yourself your own sandwich. You know what? I think the whole reason that they're making kitchen comments is because they don't even know how to make a sandwich. Guys, go to a Subway or something, or Firehouse Subs, Potbelly, Jersey Mike's, Jimmy John's. They know how to make a sandwich. I think most of the time it'll be a guy that's making it for you. So you can have that done. Jimmy John's has free fast delivery, so you can get your order really quick. And then you can turn on a WNBA game and watch Super drop 30 points. Or watch Sabrina Ionescu get a triple-double. Or watch Courtney Vandersloot get like 30 assists in a game or something. Honestly, Jimmy John's, sponsor me. I'm calling all these companies out by name. Come and sponsor me. Kitchen comments don't do anything. They don't faze anyone. One last thing I want to add really quick before I wrap everything up is that, yes, we're all entitled to our own opinions. I'm literally sitting here giving my own opinion. But when it comes to degrading people based off the thing that they do for a living, especially if it's women's sports, like, they already get degraded enough. I think if you're going to add to the problem, you are a part of the problem. And this problem has been existent for a very long time. I remember just when I was growing up that hearing about how women can't play sports, or like I shouldn't be playing sports, I should be doing something, you know, more feminine or girly, whatever you want to say. It's not the case. Everyone is different. Honestly, adding a gender to something doesn't do anything. If you are listening, no matter what gender you are, no matter how you identify, just know that you can do anything, and it doesn't matter what other people think. It's always important to have that mindset when you're thinking about what you want to do. That is all for this week's podcast. If you liked my podcast, remember to subscribe on wherever you listen to my podcast. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is the name of the podcast. Remember to rate my podcast on Apple Podcasts. Or if you can do that somewhere else too. Again, subscribe to my podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, wherever you're listening. Subscribe. Really helps me out, you know. Follow my Twitter at WSM Podcast and use the hashtag WSM Podcast to ask me questions. Tell me about your favorite athlete. Tell me who I should have as a guest. And again, like I said before, if you are a part of any of the sports leagues that I mentioned, make sure to hit me up on Twitter. And on YouTube, there's also a page where like you can write stuff to and talk to me. That is all I have to promote. Watch the NWSL Challenge Cup. Starts June 27th. This podcast will not be out on June 27th. I have a podcast coming out today that I just recorded because I'm behind on recording. So that is it. Thank you for listening. I'm your host, Gianna Belcastro. Wear your mask, wash your hands, social distance. We'll catch y'all next week as we enter episode 10 and we have an interview. Okay. First interview for the podcast. Woo! Couldn't have done it without y'all. Stay safe. Thank you kindly for listening. And that's all, folks.